Hi, I'm Ben Toom, Head of Video Production at Visual Education, and today we're going to be looking at the Micro3 Zeapon in comparison to the Rhino Arc 2 motorized sliders.
Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Use coupon code CARL to get a 10% discount.
So recently we've been filming a documentary, and for the first half of the documentary we were using the Rhino Arc 2 motorized slider with pan and tilt head. We bought this for our video courses on visual education that you can check out. And for the second half of the documentary we received the Zeapon Micro Slider 3 with the additional Pons pan tilt head. For the first half, with the Rhino Arc 2, this was great. Obviously straight away you can see that you need two tripods in small areas. It's a nightmare to set up, to balance, to level. With the micro slider, there's only one tripod. First of all, when I first saw about getting this, I was thinking there's no way that this is going to be good, it's going to be level, it's going to be steady with one tripod. But then I saw that it came with the arms, and they make all the difference. So first off the bat, you've got one tripod steady rather than two tripods. Secondly, with this, the actual slider, if you can see, is a lot smaller. It's actually there when it's folded away, but because it moves left and right on the actual tracks, you actually get almost not quite the same length as the Rhino slider, but close to the Rhino slider. So when we've been traveling, this has been great. If I get the boxes, I can show you the actual size. So here's the cases for them. This is the Zeapon case for the slider and for the motor. And this is the Rhino case. It's obviously a lot bigger. So when we've been traveling, this has been so much easier to fit in the car and to take around with us. So there you can see the difference in size of the cases. Way bigger. If I open it up, you'll see that there is a few extra bits in this. You do have the extra, you have two motors with the Rhino slider. You have the high speed motor so you can go faster, which is currently on it. And you also have a high torque motor. So if you're at a stronger angle, you need the more powerful motor. You've also got a follow focus with the Rhino slider. This is the Rhino slider bundle. And there's no Zeapon follow focus. But to be honest, we always use the Sony A7 IIIs on it, which have a great autofocus anyway, so we haven't really needed that, or I pre-focus in manual focus. And inside the Zeapon case, it's just a storage case to keep your bars, the one that hold on the tripod, and then you put the actual slider on top. And here is just where you put the motor, and you can fit an extra battery in there. So talking about batteries, the Rhino Arc 2 doesn't have batteries. You charge it. You can also use it with the mains power. And the micro slider, you need, if I just turn it off, you need 3 of the MP batteries. You need one for the slider, you need one for the pan head, and you need one for the tilt. So it's actually quite annoying having to have 3 batteries charged, and obviously if you're filming a long time on set, you've got to swap the batteries and they're all dead. You need 6 batteries. They do last a long time, and obviously they don't come with any, so you have to buy them yourself. But you can't put them on mains power, you have to have these batteries. So that's kind of a pro in favor of the Rhino, because you can charge it and you can put it on mains. So when we were filming with that, we just plugged it into the mains adapter and kept it rolling, so we didn't have to worry about it. This, I was constantly checking on the batteries. To be honest though, if you've got 3 batteries, but what I was mainly doing when we were actually filming with this was I was setting up with all 3 batteries, getting the angle right of the tilt, and then I was just taking the tilt battery out, because you don't ever really need tilt. Well, not that we did. As it was going along, if you were using just a slider, it wouldn't have worked, because we needed to keep the subject focused in the center of the frame. So I was setting up the pan head and the slider, so it was going along, and as it was going along it was panning. To do that though, you need to use the app. You can, on both of them, you can set keyframes. They both have apps. They both, have set keyframes. And in those apps, there's other features like time lapse. But with the Rhino slider, you can do everything in the main head of it. Whereas to do these, because they're actually all separate individual motors, if I take this off, nothing's attached, so nothing's actually connected. So you can set this to go back and forth, and there's 3 different speeds, and you can do the same with the pan. You can set it to go back and forth, set your keyframes in it at 3 different speeds again, and the same with that. But because none of them are connected, when you actually set them, it's moving all at different speeds. So if I set this, if I wanted to focus on one thing in the front, as it was going along, and I set this to pan as well, the pan would be moving differently from the slider. So you have to use the app for that, which works really well. I had no issues, because you're always, when using apps when you're away and you're actually on set and you've got your subjects waiting for you and stuff, I hate faffing around with apps and then losing connection and stuff. But the app for this was pretty good. You didn't have to use Wi-Fi or anything. It connected via Bluetooth. All the motors connected pretty seamlessly. The only thing that I did find was that the slider motor would disconnect if I wasn't close enough to it. But what I did was, because it was always, once I'd preset the keyframe point at the end and keyframe point at the other end, then when I disconnected, I just set it to loop, and then it didn't need to be connected to it anymore. With this, it's the same. There's an app, but you can also do it all in the head, because all of it is controlled via that head. Everything is done in here. So if you go into video, then you can set a new move, and you can set the keyframes however you want. So you can set that to be pointing there and down there as keyframe 1, and then for keyframe 2, set it back and point that there. And then you can set it to loop, and you can set the duration, and then you can send it off. So as much as that is good, that it's all in one head, the thing with this that just really was annoying is it always goes to sleep. Even if you've got it on power in the mains, it goes to sleep. And then to get it out of sleep mode, you have to move the camera either side like that. You can't click the button to make it come back on. You can't move this to come back on. So for example, when we were doing the probe lens test, which you can see on our YouTube channel, we had the probe lens going into a donut, and we had it set, but every time this went to sleep, we had to turn that, and then it would rip the donut off the base, so we had to essentially start again. And that was really annoying with this. Whereas this, everything seems to be a lot easier, a lot smoother. The app was better. And yeah, the only thing is though, you just have to be connected to the app to move everything at once. So I'll stop that. And then to use the app, connect to both the sliders and the slider and the head. And then again, you set the position. You can set the pan this time as well, and a bit of tilt. Mark keyframe, first one, slide it back along to where you want as your second end point, tilt the pan, move the pan, set as B, and then hit loop and press play, and then that will loop between those 2 positions that I've set. You can also adjust the speed. It's the percentage from 0 to 100. But all in all, I would say this whole system is what I would use more. It's a lot less faff to set up. It's just easier to screw on. There's no cables hanging about while you're doing the slider, because there's the mains power which is on now, but there's also the slider, the cable that connects the slider to the motor. Whereas you don't really have any cables with this. Also, they both have legs, so you can do this on the base. You can put this on a table or on the floor. Same with these ones. But I probably prefer these ones because they're a little bit easier to swing out, but then you've also got height adjustment on these, but that's not really a biggie on either of those. So what we're going to do now, to show you that if you are curious to see whether this is stable, we're going to do a test in our lobby, have some occlusion in the foreground and the background, try and get a bit of that parallax effect on both of them, and you can see the steadiness of those and then weigh up which one you prefer based on the size. It's stability, single tripod, and actual smoothness of the slider. Okay, so I'm going to do a test with the Zeapon first, and then I'll compare it to the Rhino slider. I'm just going to set this up. So I'm going to set the speed at 3. That's going to be keyframe 1. So double press, beep. Go to the point that I want to be keyframe 2. Get some occlusion between the sofa and the bar and the studio. So that's what I want to be point 2. So I'm going to double press again. And then I'm going to hit it on loop and hit record on the camera. And then we'll see what that looks like. And I'll do the Rhino the same. You'll notice as it comes to the end point, before going back, it comes off to a nice Bezier smooth movement. There's no jolting or juddering of the motor. So I'm going to get rid of this one and then bring in the Rhino. So to bring this in I need 2 people because of both the legs. I've got to get this low, but as you can see that there, and you can't obviously bend it, so you have to sort of do it on a ball head or try and lower it, or use 2 people as well for this, and it's just a pain. Okay, so now we're going to do the same test with the Rhino slider. Just already set up, and I'm just going to hit record. One thing to note as well, as I was just setting this up, because a lot of the times when this goes into sleep mode, you have to recalibrate the motor, so then it like wants to go all the way to one end of it and then starts, like sometimes it gets stuck as well. So another thing that you might want to do with your electric slider is put it at an angle, like I've got both of them here. You saw the faff I had with setting up this with the 2 tripods. This was way easier. And this is already going. You can see I've set it and it's going, it's looping back and forth. No slipping, no problems. With this, it's not going, because when I tried to get it to go, it doesn't seem to hold the weight of the camera, so it just slips like that. And then even when I had got that to sit there, actually holding the weight of it going back and forth up and down here, just wasn't holding it. Maybe I've done something wrong, but I can't see what it is, why it would be doing that. This was just so easy. I literally just put it on there, put it the angle I wanted and set the poles, set it to go. One extra additional thing with this that you can't do with that, if I just stop this and take this out, this is pretty cool. See how easy even that just was just then. And with this, with the tilt head, I can do a full 360 Vortex on the camera, which along with the slider as well, you could get some great shots with that. Usually I use a gimbal for that to do Vortex shots. But you can do it on this as well. See, there you are, full 360 on that. So I just did a Vortex going along. But like on a gimbal, a lot of the shots you'll see in the courses do a Vortex going forward or going out. So if I just spin the pan head, then I can Vortex it going in and out as well. Obviously I'm just holding the buttons and doing it manually, but you could set all the keyframes so you wouldn't have to be holding it. And then you could have this going back and forth as well, which is a great shot. And you could do it going down you could do it going down the track as well. So yeah, there seems to be more possibilities with this that you don't get with the Rhino. The size makes a lot of difference, and the single tripod is just almost like a necessity when you're traveling. So yeah, that's the review of the Micro3 Zeapon versus the Rhino slider. The Zeapon comes in with the head and this electric slider at about $1,000, and this comes out of just over $3,000. So I think I know which one I'd buy.